After a complete overhaul in the infield of Boyd Speedway, Mother Nature has re-waxed the dance floor at this state line homecoming. On Friday night, it was John Zimmer and Overboard walking away with the hardware. With the rivers and creeks running high, can another all-star come through and claim the King's crown? Up next, the Monsters party the night away. As if it wasn't already wet enough yesterday, the track crew who completely reworked the dirt surface here at Boyd Speedway got hit with torrential rains, and as you can see, they are now battling a muddy facility here at Boyd Speedway on the Tennessee-Georgia state line for the second night of action here with the All-Star Monster Truck Tour homecoming. And not only that, but we are waiting to find out if we're going to get hit with another storm during showtime. As you can see, there's a massive weather system moving in, but that has not stopped the fans who have come out in droves to watch 6 of the best monster trucks in the country go at it in best trick racing and freestyle. Now, as you can see here, the facility has been once again reworked. They turned the dirt, packed it over and over again, and we do have a racing surface. Another story, this guy right here, John Zimmer Jr., Terminal Velocity. He was out of competition yesterday after damaging the truck during intros. He is back. He made his way out for intros, and he is ready to go here at the top of the show. We'll see how he does, because he should have been a contender in yesterday's action. Now we're going to open things up with the best trick competition. We're going to start with the young phenom, Montana Robinson of Lawton, New York, and Plain Crazy. As he works his way around the infield here, again, they did manage to pull a racing surface out of what was pretty much a swamp when we rolled in here this morning. You can see the chalk is actually still pretty dry, so they were able to get a lot of the moisture off of the top of the dirt, but as they dig it down, they're actually going to be getting into a kind of swampy material as Montana Robbins opens things up in fine fashion there. Looked real good. Score of 4. I think he wanted a little more out of the truck, but it did look good in that opening run. He should be solid as the competition goes on. Up next, Kristen Megas out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, in the fan favorite Wolf's Head. Piloting this truck for J.R. McNeil's Amalie Oil Motorsports team out of the Daytona, Florida area. Nice opening move right there, and you can see as she gets on the brakes, she is picking up a lot of clay on those group Firestones. See what she has for her second hit. That end of the track is definitely looking a lot more slick than this end as she wraps up her best trick run. We will see what develops again on this racing surface by the time we get into round number 1. She looked good. I don't know whether or not that's going to take over the lead. It was about on par with the run that went in front of her, that being Montana Robbins. But score 3 for Wolf's Head. Not a bad run, but again, I do think the slick track conditions are taking away some of the potential vertical error that she would have been looking for, as Triton Robbins now, another phenom out of Wattens, New York, another second-generation driver, part of that team, the older brother of the two, in Crazy Train. Right there, you see the trouble starting already when he got on the brakes. It just slid a good 15-20 feet. Rear end came around, set it down, and that might hurt his overall, though it did look pretty cool. Not a traditional stompy, but he did keep the rear end off the ground for a good ways. Now it looks like he's going to try one on this side. Let's see if it works. Got it up there. put the smokestack on the ground and then sent it back down. He was way over as he gets the crowd on their feet early here this evening. Watch him again. Got it to stick on this side. You can see, even though it slid a little ways, once it stood up, he let it go over about as far as you can go without dumping it. I think he made Bob pucker a little bit back there in the back as John Zimmer Jr. now rolls out in terminal velocity. The Hoosier base, 41 Willis with a concussion chassis, the Marcher tires. Chuck Plumley talked to him earlier.
You got to win best trick, racing, or freestyle, but you love all three.
Yeah, definitely. You got to do good in all three if you don't get to win them. But my favorite is the best trick contest. You get to do those cool tricks, I get to say, up on the nose or up on the rear. And I'm just looking to stay consistent all night and maintain that point.
Keep in mind they will accumulate points throughout each of our three competitions that will go toward an end of the night overall. Last night his father won that overall. Let's see. He's going for the stoppie. Little moonwalk there. You see him actually touch the front of the chassis to the ground. Now he did it going backwards. Had he done that going forward, he could have gotten in a lot of trouble. You see the difference right there between the concussion chassis of Zimmer in terminal velocity and the Eddie chassis that we just saw underneath a Crazy Train. Now let's see what he's got for his second move. Getting it in the spin cycle, John Zimmer Jr. making good on a promise he made to this crowd to bring this truck back after all the trouble that he had yesterday. Brings it back strong. The 41 Willis up on the nose, a score of 9 to take the number 1 spot. So he will go in the lead as our next competitor comes up. A couple more to go. Another representative of the J.R. McNeil Amalie Oil Motorsports team out of Deltona, Florida. This is Buddy Tompkins, and he is a wild one. Chuck Plumley talked to him earlier as well.
You know, all these national events, they're fun and all, but this is where we all started, this is where we all grew up. These little dirt tracks, having fun with all you family and friends. I want to hear you, Georgia, Tennessee. Let's get loud. It's Saturday night. We're here to have fun. We want to hear y'all cheer. Let's go!
Getting the crowd pumped up before the action even started. Let's see what Tompkins has. That's going to hurt him right there. He had an awesome stoppie into a moonwalk yesterday, one of the best we've ever seen. As he showers our camera crew with mud. Some slap Willie carrying out all the way to the edge of the infield. Right to the top of the infield wall. I don't know if you want to drop over there. It is an absolute mess on the other side of that wall. I'll have to be towing that truck out. Let's see. Not enough to do it, and I think that first move hurt him, but solid run for Raising Cane. They'll help him get in the points as the night goes on. Up next, the father of the father-son team out here this weekend, running another of Jamie Garner's awesome machines overboard. This is John Zimmer Sr.
Retirement life is just all about your son. It's just all about just enjoying great moments with great friends and great family.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You and I both know I've done this almost 21 years, somewhere in there. Driven tons of names and had a great career. This year I took a step back to be the crew chief on my son's truck, and I truly have had more fun in my life. Going to all these places I've been to, it's an honor. It's just so much more thrilling for me. This weekend though, little fella's got it coming for him. I'm back behind the wheel. I think I've had a 4 or 5 month break since I've drove, and one thing's for certain, tonight's the last night. We're putting it in the trailer, going home, so y'all better be ready to go.
This guy took the overall last night, came up just a couple points short in freestyle. It's a nice slap wheel to start things off. He had a nice wheel stand over the van stack. One of the best running, most consistent trucks on the tour right now, the Hoosier Base C10, the Steps Towing Overboard Chevrolet. Fielded by Jamie Garner tonight, being piloted by John Zimmer Sr., the legend, and he was trying to pop the front end way up in the air. Did not happen. The moisture got the best of him, even with the Marchers. This is going to be a good donut track. not going to get a good score here, I don't think. At least not going to be in the top of the field, but Zimmer making a statement that he's not going to get left behind here tonight. He's definitely going to be a threat in racing. We know that. That's been a specialty of his for a long, long time. Overboard with a 6 in the best trick competition, and that means your champion is none other than his son, John Zimmer Jr.
It feels good to be back in victory lane on the All-Star Tour. You've had a rough go of it the last couple weeks. You ended up breaking somehow in introductions or the first competition, but you and your team, because I know you got Chucky Pocket, the third back there, so I know your team has been putting it back together, and tonight just feels good to go right back to victory lane.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It makes you feel like our hard work is really paying off. Little Chucky CP3 back there, he's my crew guy for the weekend, and he's learning. He's only 16 years old, and I'm super pumped to get this first win of the night. We got 2 more to go, and I'm going to try to take them all.
Turning the crowd on early. Congratulations to John Zimmer Jr. coming back from disaster yesterday. We're just getting started, though. Don't go anywhere. More from Boyd Speedway.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show, ticket info, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army, featuring action-packed content from around the web. Visit rpmarmy.com, your source for motorsports on the go. This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Crush This. For an inside look at the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This. Available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
Back at Boyd Speedway on the Tennessee-Georgia state line. We're calling it Tennessee, Chattanooga to be exact, only because this is the homecoming for the Tennessee-based All-Star Monster Truck Tour. A full bracket ready to go overboard, taking on Raising Cane. That's actually going to be a rematch of last night's championship race. Then it'll be brothers Crazy Train and Plain Crazy. Montana and Triton going at it in round number 1, and then Wolf's Head against Terminal Velocity, 2 of the best from this new generation of monster truck competitors. A little bit of an advantage maybe to Kristen Migas with the experience, but we'll see when we get there. Right now, though, on the line, as I said, these two matched up in our championship race last night here at Boyd Speedway. It went in favor of the Chevrolet bodied steps towing machine out of the state of Indiana, being driven by the legend from Vermont. That is Jamie Garner's Overboard. We will see if Buddy Tompkins can get some revenge on John Zimmer right here in round number 1. Advantage off the start, went to Overboard, but Tompkins is way out in front. Both of them slipping and sliding through that run. The win, though, will go to John Zimmer in Overboard, a 16.95. So he is still down there in quick territory right now in spite of the mud. Those big marchers, the China tires, digging in. Outrunning the big high horsepower Ram with the group Firestone's up next. Full set of 8 6-ply Goodyears now rolling to the line. This is a battle of brothers. Crazy Train and Plain Crazy. Now, Montana Robbins was a big surprise during yesterday's racing action. He knocked off Buddy Tompkins in round number 1 and then came back to face him in the semifinal round. Unfortunately for him, Buddy got the best of him there. Dryden Robbins had a good race going yesterday as well, but he fell victim to the jammer car on the backside when he turned in too tight. Let's see how they do here tonight. Into the final corner. They're both there together, but Montana has problems. Not sure if it was the water on the track or if his steering problems came back. The truck looks all right. Crazy Train moving on at that 17:03, so he is right in the ballpark with John Zimmer and Overboard. As they clear the track, both of them had good runs going, but that backside turn, as I said, I do believe is the slicker spot to be now as our final pairing rolls up. John Zimmer Jr., look at this. He's trying to keep Kristen Migas out of that lane. They both want the lane, and she says, no way, I'm next to it. I'm closer. I'm taking the lane. She's going to make him go on to the other side of the track. I don't know how happy about that he is, because he's going to have to make the tougher of these two turns last. So we will see if that comes back to haunt him, or if Karma's going to jump back up and bite her right now as she took the lane away from him. Now, there you see it, John Zimmer Jr., who did not compete in racing last night. How will he do here in round number 1 against Kristen Migas and Wolf's Head? Almost a dead even start, a 1/100th of a second difference between these two trucks off the start, but you can see John Zimmer Jr. way out in front right now into the final turn, and once again, Kristen Migas overshoots the final turn off the second jump, just like she did yesterday in round number 1 competition. This time, though, she will go on and finish the run. Just in case there's a break or something, she'll have a legal shot back into the next round. The 17:27, by the way, for terminal velocity. Gets him down in the range he'll need to be competitive, but keep in mind this track is actually getting worse as the night goes on. They are, again, digging down to wetter soil. It's actually bringing water up on top of the track as they go and making mud. As we look at our semifinal round bracket, Overboard will take on Crazy Train. That should be a good matchup. And then it'll be Raisin Cane taking on Terminal Velocity. Buddy Tompkins, he fell to John Zimmer Sr. We'll see if he can knock off John Zimmer Jr. And there's a potential that we'll get another matchup between Raisin Cane and Overboard in the finals, but he has to make it there in the dirt. We do not run these races on paper. There you see John Zimmer Jr. going right back to this side. You see Buddy Tompkins kind of eyeballing it as well. These guys are battling for the good lane here tonight. Believe it or not, there is one, because, as I said, that far side turn from us, where Tompkins is right now, that is actually the slicker turn. You do not want to be there coming out of your final turn. You don't want to be on that side of the track trying to keep the truck straight. We'll see, though. Tompkins and Zimmer Jr., first pair of the semifinal. Both of them having trouble getting the traction to the ground. There you see a full-length lead for Buddy Tompkins. Final corner. It's going to be close. And John Zimmer flying to the finish line. Tompkins almost rolls it. Look at the time. 17:02. For Zimmer, so I take it back. He didn't have any trouble getting the horsepower to the ground. He is right there in that zone now with his father, who ran a 16:95 round number 1. So we'll see as they push that turn marker back into place for our final pairing of the semifinal round. We're going to take one more look at this run. Again, watch the difference in the corners. Look how tight Tompkins kept it there. He can actually get down there in dirt track through that corner without sliding out too much, but watch him on the final corner.
This is going to be one interesting matchup.
Rear end starts washing away on him. He stayed after. You can see up on 2 wheels crossing the finish line, caught that turn tire. And that's all she wrote for Buddy Tompkins for this night of racing here at Boyd Speedway. We'll see what he can do in freestyle. He can still be a threat to our points leaders coming out of racing. We'll take a look at that once the bracket is over, as our final pairing and the semifinal round stage is up. Pair of Eddie chassis on the line, but some different concepts on how to set them up. There you see the front tires coming to the line. That's John Zimmer in the steps towing, overboard taking on that awesome, what Chuck Plumley has been affectionately referring to as a Chattanooga choo-choo. That is Crazy Train and Triton Robbins. Advantage off the line for overboard, 3/100ths of a second. And Robbins just missed a jump. 2 and 2 will, I believe, in effect right now. Overboard going to get the victory. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. Crazy Train did not get both front tires up the second jump. Overboard, though, moving on to the final round, and that means we have a father-son matchup coming at you when we bring these trucks back for the championship round of racing. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss that. That should be an awesome one. Pair of Jamie Garner's machines out of the state of Indiana being driven by the father-son team out of Vermont. Now, you are looking at a gentleman that goes by the name of Scarecrow. You saw our last edition from here in Chattanooga. You saw him perform the torpedo crash. That is Scarecrow in the helmet getting gelled down. If you thought the torpedo crash was cool, if you like the big fireball, just wait. The fireball is going to get even bigger. Now, here's what he did last night. This was the torpedo crash. You see that stack of cars on the backstretch throughout tonight's action? Well, this is what that was for. Plowing through the wall of steel, the torpedo crash again, massive fireball. It's about to get even bigger. Chuck Plumley, take it away.
We're waiting on the signal. Again, world famous Scarecrow. All-Star fans, 10, 9.
Famous stunt, man. It seems so simple. Just blow up some gas bombs and stand there. Takes a lot of guts. We ran into this guy in the hotel parking lot earlier. You'd have never guessed what he was about to come over to Boyd Speedway and do. One more look at it. Watch as the gas bombs go sky high here at Boyd Speedway. Scarecrow walking out of the inferno, much to the delight of this awesome crowd here on the Tennessee-Georgia state line. Just something extra for homecoming week here with the all-star monster truck tour. You see the track crew backing up there. That wall of fire is so hot. Even from about 100 yards away, you can feel that. Well, we're right up here on the front stretch. We were all sweating when those gas bombs went off. What a way to begin the final stages of homecoming week here with the All-Star Monster Truck Tour. Don't go anywhere. The championship round and freestyle are coming up next.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. First the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out of.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're gonna go down memory lane.
Tennessee, Georgia State line at Boyd Speedway. Father and son making their way to the front stretch to join each other for a championship race for the ages. Jamie Garner's got to be loving this if he is seeing it. Both of his trucks here in front of an awesome crowd at Boyd Speedway, getting ready to compete not only for the racing championship, but one of these trucks has a really good shot at taking the All-Star Monster Truck Tour overall here at night number 2 at Boyd Speedway. There you see John Zimmer Jr. He got the lane he wanted on this reverse roundy-round course. As you can see, they've been turning to the right. Zimmer Jr. staging up right now as he will go to the slicker side first. We'll see if it's come around at all as this night has gone on. His father with a slight advantage in elapsed time at a 16.95, but only 0.07 of a second separate these two in their lowest ET. Zimmer Jr. at a 17.02 for his fastest run. Here we go, the championship race at Boyd Speedway into the first turn. An advantage for Overboard into the final corner. Both of them digging hard, but the win will actually go to Overboard at an 18.94. That 17.01 would have been Zimmer Jr.'s fastest time, but he only got one tire over the race ramp on his final jump. The win going to his father. You saw him give the thumbs up to Senior as he drove off the track. What a final round race. And you see Zimmer Senior backing back out of the pits. He was headed to the pit area. He didn't know he had even won the race. Not the way Senior wanted to get that win, but consistency is as much a part of the game as anything. Dead even off the light and over the first jump, but after the first corner, the lead, and obviously at about a 1.5 length advantage to John Zimmer Sr. into the final corner. And watch Junior here, he clips the turn marker, throws him sideways. He only gets one tire fully on the last jump, so a victory to Overboard. His father, for the second night in a row, picks up the racing victory at Boyd Speedway. He's down with Chuck Plumley.
Not exactly the way you wanted to win, but that's where experience comes into play. It's a wet track, weather's been just an absolute hassle all day, but if you go to victory lane, his small bobble in the final turn, and he was off the finish line. Both front tires needed to hit it, did not. You're the winner.
Yeah, no doubt. It's truly an honor to be racing my son. I got to thank Jamie Garner. He owns these trucks. He owns about 5 trucks. Without a doubt, I've done this 21 years. These are some of the best trucks in the industry today. It's an honor to drive them, an honor to build them with him. And man, it's fun racing him. Like you said, it's slippery. When I came to the last turn, I wasn't getting any traction. I was all over the place. I could see him totally sideways, and I'm thinking, I'm going to win this because he's not even going to hit the jump.
There you go. You still have Monster Truck Freestyle competition. You love going to places like this where you get up close and personal with your fans, and you love freestyle. Those are 2 of your favorite things.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like you say all the time on the mic, I truly have been all over this world driving gravediggers, 16 different countries. This is where I was born and raised. It's people, places just like this. And I was taught at those places. 2,500 people, 50,000. I drive the truck for you, and I will burn it in the ground. I promise that.
Make some noise!
Very popular win with the fans. I love the Excalibur driver's suit as he walks away. Overboard in terminal velocity. By the way, look at these points. Those two, father and son, are tied for the top spot right now. Crazy Train, Raising Cane, Plain Crazy, and Wolf's Head rounding out the field as we get ready for our first truck to go here in freestyle. It will be Montana Robbins, who's moving in off the backstretch right now in Plain Crazy, the Empire Flyer, the beautiful blue Silverado. Let's see what he has to open up this freestyle run. His run got cut short yesterday due to steering problems. He said he's not going to have that problem here tonight. He's going to cut this Eddie chassis loose. Keeping the momentum up. He's not letting the mud affect him too much. He's actually slipping and sliding around out there without too much trouble. The big Chevy out of the Empire State working the track beautifully right now. Keep in mind he's got an open front end, so when he spins that thing around, you'll see one tire keep spinning and one tire stop. He's not running a locker or a spool in that front differential, as you see a perfect example of it right there as he heads over the van stack. Big hit right there. That is the jump that got Buddy Tompkins yesterday and exploded his front sway bar. Montana not having that problem as he heads for the bus. Laying it down in the beautiful blue Silverado out of New York. Short and sweet. He's going to wrap it up right there. A good run to open things up. Didn't run too long, didn't tear up the truck, but you can't say it wasn't strong. May have needed a little more to get a win here on this night, but again, he did not disappoint. He should feel good about the run he just laid down in plain crazy. Montana Robbins making a statement to open things up again. This wild landing right here could have cost him, but it didn't. I was worried he broke the rear steering again when the rear end started coming around on it, but it looks like the self-center may have just been off, and then this huge leap over the bus, a 20 to open things up, making a statement, Montana Robbins, and he needed to because he's got nothing but strong competition behind him. Here comes Kristen Migas out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, taking on the Crush Cars in Wolf's Head. Getting bound up over there. Now, there's another problem on that side where all those dirt piles are. That is all the mud that they scraped off this track throughout the week. There was a motocross track when the All-Star Monster trucks rolled in here that had to be cleaned up. They weren't just going to use that dirt and give them the whole infield. Well, that was completely saturated. It's basically like quicksand if you get up on top of it. There is a ton of water saturated into those dirt piles on the backside, and when it rained today, it started leaking out from under those piles and onto this infield, so there's actually puddles forming as the night goes on. Getting into another freestyle obstacle right there. Another run, short and sweet, but not disappointing. We'll see if she took over the lead. It was a solid effort. Came out and hit the three Crush Cars. They had those there last night, and some of the drivers did not realize that they were allowed to hit those. Again, strong statements from our two opening competitors here in All-Star Monster Truck Tour Freestyle. Looking at it again, she needed to beat a 20. Not going to do it. 6 points short. You hear the horn blaring. There is Crazy Train. Score to beat again is a 20, and it is his brother. He would love nothing more than to knock his brother out of the top spot. Keep that guy's head from getting too big. Huge leap off the jammer car. You have got to tip your hat to these two youngsters who have nothing but control of these trucks, especially right now. Looking at Triton, he's showing so much technical ability at the wheel of this machine, but he's not slowing down to show that ability as he gets... Well, now he's getting in trouble there. I'm not sure what happened as he goes over toward those piles. He was actually headed toward one of our $3,000 staging light unit. Luckily, he got that thing locked up. It looks like he's now having a steering problem. It's the front steering, though. His brother got cut short last night because of problems with the rear steering, and it looks like he's going to end the run here with damaged front steering. Maybe he's lining it up for the bus. No front steering on Crazy Train. Is he going to attack the bus? Yes, he is. Almost got himself in trouble right there, but he went for it anyway. Had nothing to lose. They're going to take this thing back to New York and get it fixed. Look at that. He's up on one. There's more mud for the photographers up here on the front wall. I think Jen Bay's going to have to wash her hair when she gets back to her hotel. Good to see that family out here. 16. Not quite what he was looking for. I think the score would have been higher had he not had to stop and back up, but the crowd had to love it when he went for the bus stack with no front steering. They were standing there. You see right now, Triton is leading in the overall, even though he does not have the lead in freestyle. That belongs to his brother, who's sitting in second place. Overboard and Terminal Velocity both need at least a 14 to grab the top spot. And keep in mind, Raising Cane, who needs an 18 to grab the top spot. Those three trucks are still to go. Don't go anywhere. More wild action coming at you from the Battle at Boyd Speedway. You are seeing right. There is a light rain coming down right now, just when we thought it couldn't get any muddier out here. The rain has started to fall. The temperature's coming down a little bit, actually. We'll see what happens next as John Zimmer Jr. rolls out in the 41 Willis concussion chassis terminal velocity of Jamie Garner's team out of the state of Indiana. And you see him right there clip one of those concrete rails. Score to beat is a 20 laid down by Plain Crazy and Montana Robbins. Getting into that mud, it's tough to stop. I think he wanted to kind of flip that truck around and go back the other way, but the camber of this track just kept dragging the rear end of the truck down and sending him toward the wall as he got into some real slick stuff over here on the front side. Having to back up, though, could have hurt him. Let's see. They are just hammering those race lanes right now. They're getting some good moves off the big stuff, but I'm very impressed at the hang time they're getting off of these race lanes, both from the front side and the back side. Again, hammering those concrete rails. Beautiful slap wheel as he starts to run out of room. And again, you can see those bolts over there with the lights up on top of them. $3,000 if you take one of those out. Wraps up an impressive run with an awesome cyclone. We'll see if he knocked that 20 down. It was a solid run. I have to say, he definitely has put the pressure on Montana Robbins for that freestyle score right now. We'll see, though, if he has enough to get him to the #1 spot. Remember, he needed at least a 14. I will go ahead and say he did that. But it remains to be seen. It's up to the judges. Scores coming in for Terminal Velocity. He did it, a 25. Your new leader for the overall championship right now. He is in the running for that #1 spot. But right behind him, Buddy Tompkins out of Deltona, Florida, in the awesome Raising Cane Ram. And he starts off flying. something to keep in mind. If you look at the front of the truck, normally right in front of the cab is where his front sway bar would be mounted. He has no front sway bar on this truck right now. He's got a lot more body roll than normal. He blew that front sway bar apart coming over the backside of that far race lane last night. Didn't have another one to throw in there. They got the front end straightened back up, but again, he's running it with no sway bar. We'll see if it hurts his performance at all. So far, it's not. He's getting some incredible hang time. Working the track to perfection. Sliding toward the wall. He gets into some of the Uke tires there. He's hitting whatever's in front of him. He is one of those drivers that his ego can jump up and bite him, but man, when it works in his favor, he is nothing but spectacular. On his side, Raising Cane. Wrapping up a run, I think cut it a little bit shorter than he wanted to, but it was, like I said, nothing but spectacle. That was an awesome freestyle. The emergency crews, and there you see Stacy Jensen running on foot. That's Gene up in the loader there. There you see the ambulance, the little trackside ambulance running over there. I'm sure he's all right. It wasn't a very hard hit. He laid over into some real soft soil, but just precautionary. They get down there quick to shut the fuel and everything off. Again, the remote ignition interrupter employed as soon as he dumped that truck over. You heard it shut off. Look at this, a 27. Buddy Tompkins taking the #1 spot here at All-Star Monster Truck Tour Freestyle as he climbs out. He is pumped up. The fans absolutely loving it, and why shouldn't they watch it again? Probably the best hang time that we've seen here tonight. He started just hammering on this thing. Right here was the move that absolutely killed that front sway bar last night. Didn't hurt him tonight because he had a sway bar to kick out of there. I don't think it hurt his run too bad, but right here is where he gets in a little bit of trouble. He can't get traction going after that bus stack, and it kicked him off to the left, and you can see the sidewall of the rear tire was completely perpendicular to the ground. There was no way he was going to drive out of that.
But talk about a wild ride. Dude, these fans were going crazy. They hit a whole new level when you took your monster truck upside down.
You know, I might have been angry driving a little bit, but hey, that truck don't say Raising Cane for no reason, and that's what I come out here to do. For all you great fans, I don't care how much work I gotta put in this week to get it ready to go. You know what? I wasn't even done yet, but you know what? John Zimmer back there, he's gonna go out in style too. I got faith in him. So give him a round of applause. Get on your feet. Let's go, guys!
This crowd definitely getting their money's worth tonight here at Boyd Speedway as getting ready to wrap up freestyle here with one more competitor as Tompkins takes his truck off the track. Last night the truck was still running and he left it up here on the front stretch. Kind of turned into an obstacle for John Zimmer. Tonight he rolls it over. You can see the body, which was actually fairly new body, came in good condition. It's worse for wear, but he'll come back to fight again another day. An awesome weekend for Buddy Tompkins now as our final competitor rolls out of Arlington, Vermont, driving the Hoosier-based C10. Zimmer takes on the bus stack from the side that got Buddy Tompkins. Made it look easy. Thought he was going back for it a second time. John Zimmer in the steps towing overboard, representing Chattanooga Valley Auto Parts here this weekend. That's the flag he's got flying off the back here for the All-Star Monster Truck Tour. Big hang time there for the Chevrolet. And that truck on the ragged edge. We'll see if this ends up being enough. Tell you what, that flag's a little worse for wear. He ran over that thing yesterday in Best Trick. Going for the bus again. Zimmer is taking no prisoners. And he's going to wrap it up right there. The Hoosier-based Chevrolet of Jamie Garner being driven by the legend John Zimmer Sr.
Make some noise,
Crowd is loving it. The question now, did he do enough to take the overall? Because I can tell you, he didn't do enough to win the freestyle. 26 by 1 point. He's going to miss the freestyle victory, but that 26 will net him the All-Star Monster Truck Tour overall for the second night in a row here at Boyd Speedway on the Tennessee-Georgia line. And again, taking a look at a couple of highlights, you can see he came at that side with some momentum. I said he wanted to show up Buddy Tompkins. He made the move that bit Buddy look easy. And then these massive leaps over the bus stack. He is now standing trackside with All-Star Monster Truck Tour's own Chuck Plumley.
Homecoming champion for us here at All-Star Tour. What a weekend!
Truly an honor that I was actually behind the wheel at Brian and the All-Star team's hometown. Brian truly treats us great. He was there when I started. He's still going strong today. I don't see him slowing down or any of the All-Star boys. So yeah, for me, an honor to be here with you, Brian. And you fans, it truly is life, what I live for, running in front of people like you with my son and all these great drivers. So I love you guys and I always will.
What a night of action. What a weekend of action here at Boyd Speedway. Two huge events that almost didn't occur because of weather, but these guys did not disappoint. These guys and gals, I should say. Kristen Megas ended up in the number 6 spot, but she laid down a run. There was not one slacker in the field. And look at that, overboard by 1 point. John Zimmer tops John Zimmer Jr. That should tell you how close the competition was here this weekend. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time here from Back Channel Productions.